Good morning and welcome to the Morning Cup. I'm Jimmy Doolin with Clubhouse RE. So this week I attended the Indiana Association of Realtors Fall Conference. Now I know not everybody was there, so I'm going to give you a small recap. Lots of people were there, by the way. I felt like it was probably pretty well attended, but I don't know exactly year over year how to compare that for them. But anyway, at any event, this was again the Indiana Association. So we had some different speakers. And so first we had Kevin Brown, NAR's first vice president. Kevin was intimately involved in the legal process and everything that went on with respect to the NAR $418 million settlement. So some things that came from Kevin. There's on realtor.com, there's a website, put on by realtors, realtor.com, that is financialwellness.realtor.com. Check that out. He recommended, and by the way, that will help with different financial tools for financial planning for agents. Profile of a home buyer and home sellers. He indicated that information would be something worth looking at. Those reports might help you to understand where the buyers and sellers are coming from in the current market, so you know how to adjust accordingly. September 18th, NAR webinar for safety at 1 p.m. Eastern. I believe that is nar.realtor/safety. And that is going to be a safety program all around the modern techniques, tips, tricks, etc., for agents to use to practice in real estate and be safe. There was a congratulations out there to our own Paul Weinman out of Kokomo for his non-for-profit, who helped recognize and help folks with addictive needs, getting them the services that they need. So everybody give Paul Weinman a shout out and a congratulations on what he did. All right. He also indicated the DOJ is after three things with respect to the realtors and our compensation and all of the negotiations. No offer of compensation should be posted anywhere. Now, that's not the current rules. This is what the DOJ is ultimately after. Get rid of exclusivity rule of clear compensation, commingling of MLS data. So anyway, those are the three things that NAR believes that the DOJ is after. Advocacy scoop. If you look up the NAR advocacy scoop, it'll tell you what is going on with respect for NAR and what they are doing for us as agents. All right. Next, we had Mark Fisher, IAR CEO. Two acronyms back to back, IAR CEO, and a heck of a nice guy. At any event, Indiana Housing Hub IndianaHousingHub.com through IAR data. It's called the Indiana Housing Hub, but it is, you get to it by data.indianarealtors.com. They post that information weekly every Thursday, and monthly on the 17th. So you can get up to the date weekly information every Thursday, and then monthly on the 17th of each month, you'll get the previous month's data. So you can use that. Indiana housing prices have fallen faster than our neighboring states. Not sure if everybody knew that. Indiana unemployment is trending well presently. Indiana's migration is trending positive in 2018. So we are getting people predominantly from Illinois, but other states as well. So our population is growing. In other words, people are finding Indiana to be a good place to live. Indiana closings are down so far 2%, 51,000 closings statewide. Pendings picked up in August, 6%, 7% year to date. 64,611 listings this year, 2024. Listing growth is predominantly in the higher price ranges. We are averaging right now through the date of this, which was September 10th or 9th, we are 96% list price to sales price ratio on average. 45% of homes listed today have gone through a price reduction. I think that seems high. Metro area sales are down, except for Terre Haute is the only major metropolitan area with an increase in sales activity. Then we had Brian Boro with 1000 Watt. I don't know if you've ever heard Brian. Heck of a, I don't know him personally. I did bump into him yesterday, but at any event, I've heard him before and I do like the guy. So Brian with 1000 Watt. He gave us a presentation on the value proposition and the whole buyer presentation and how to reposition it. So I found his information to be interesting and I believe what you will find valuable. People do not object to how much buyers agents are paid. That in general, that is they're from their survey. They did a survey of I think it was 1,000 or 1,700 people. You must be known, liked, and trusted and valued to get referrals. Now, I don't think value is the word that most of us like, that most of us are familiar with. So known, liked, trusted, but also valued in order to get referrals. To be valued, you must be able to articulate your value. High significance, low volume transactions, those are real estate transactions, and creating value there is what we need to do. We must be able to fill the void. We have to tell our story before someone else tells it for us. Can't value what we don't understand. So we need to start with educating our clients so they can understand. And he suggested just a simple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and start with how. How do you do your job for a buyer so that you can create a presentation on your value? And he really recommended that we figure out what is uniquely valuable about you and not about everyone. So it's not just I unlock the door or I find you a home, et cetera, et cetera. What is unique about you, and what are 10 things you bring to the table? He gave an example of repositioning the value, and Redfin, he said, was a good example. That they are, Redfin says that they will redefine real estate in the public's favor. So this was a repositioning phrase that they use in their marketing. Always be different, ABD, he said. What is the difference about you? What are you doing or saying that your competition isn't doing? He said we need to have cost framing in order to create our value. Framing is your story. It's what are you doing and how are you doing it? So some examples, be honest. Now, these are going to be a little maybe controversial, but he did a far better job than what I'm going to do explaining these to you. But he gave an example of some reframing what it's like to be an agent. So an ad, instead of telling everybody it's a great time, everybody should buy, yada, 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 he reframed it and said, selling your home isn't easy. It's hard. It's our job to make it happen with the best possible terms. Totally reframing and not saying, oh, I'll make it so easy on you, don't worry about it. Being honest and saying it is a difficult process, but I'm here to help you get through it. 33.4% of buyers said risk mediation was the most important value their agent brought to the deal. I always, in my 34 years now, 33 years of real estate, I always thought it was negotiations. So this one shocked me when I read that he said 33.4%. In other words, a third of the people said that the most valuable thing that the agent did was risk mediation. In other words, getting them through the process and eliminating their risks. Finding a home. So here was another repositioning phase. Finding a home is easy. Buying a home is hard. We are here to help you with the hard part. Man, that is solid. I don't know. Like, that's just such a great, I'm going to say it again because I like it so much. Finding a home is easy. Buying a home is hard. We are here to help with the hard part. Think about that, guys. That's so much better than what we say on social media. I didn't really get much from IAR Government Affairs. They had a panel up there. The only thing I really got from it is property taxes aren't going to go away in Indiana. At least it didn't sound like it. So NAR legal update, we paid out $408. This was the NAR legal update. So that was IAR government governmental affairs, property taxes won't go away. NAR legal update. This was NAR's Charlie Lee, Senior Counsel, National Association of Realtors. I really thought he was pretty informative. 418 million will be paid over 4 years. You can go to facts.realtor to get information on that. Fannie, Freddie, and FHA don't count buyers' fees against the buyer. In other words, it's not going to count into their concessions and alleviate their opportunity to buy a home. VA has lifted its ban on the buyer agency fees. It's lifted. It's not a permanent thing as of right now. November 26th, the judge should approve the settlement for the National Association of Realtors. And if you are caught providing OOC on the MLS or any service, wait a second, if you're caught providing OOC on the MLS or any other service off the MLS, the local board is required to suspend service to the broker or agent. That is because they've come to a settlement and they've got to honor that settlement or the settlement reverts back. NAR believes there can still be a future of procuring cause in mediation. I had an agent ask me this. I told him no, I didn't see how you could have procuring cause when you've got contracts now. If a seller concession is offered, you need to ask the buyer how they want it used and include that in your PA. So if they have a seller concession and your buyer wants to use that concession to help compensate their agent, then you need to inquire with that and it needs to be indicated. Seller's agent must disclose the fact that the BAC is optional and they must, and so that you can explain all of the options. Required terms, your agent can be open. You must objectively, obtainably amount, not something open-ended. Let me say this all over again. Required terms. Your agreement can't be open. You must have an objectively obtainable amount and not something open-ended. In other words, there has to be an amount of money that you are going to collect for the services rendered. State law prevails over MLS policies or NAR policies, Refer clients to this site to make sure they don't improperly guide them through if they have questions regarding the NAR settlement. They've created a site where you can refer your clients so that they get the facts and that we don't accidentally make a mistake and tell them something that's inaccurate. And that is Real Estate Commissions Litigation, realestateCommissionLitigation.com. There are some additional suits that are popping up in a few different states, none of which we need to go into great detail over. But that's it. That was the IAR fall conference. I enjoyed it, had a good time, sat and saw some friends, people I hadn't seen in a long time. But just wanted to bring you guys that information. Hopefully that is helpful. Until next week, make it a great week. And as that strolling bar down there says, consider liking, subscribing, or commenting on these posts. Have a great day, folks.